Okay, so today, guys, like we will cover the AAA as well as we will cover authentication. So we will cover authentication like Node 1X and the MAV authentication. So unfortunately, guys, this is not a, like a I cannot perform the practical here because we need a like a centralized authentication server like ICE in the real world we use. Okay, but mainly like we focus on the switch perspective as well as like because these days, okay, everyone using this 8.1 access authentication and the map authentication. And as we are covering the AAA, so we also cover today the device authentication, which is like happen through a TACACS protocol. Okay, and the other authentication like dot 1x and map authentication, that is happen through a radius protocol. Okay, so let's start with like AAA. Okay, so first, like this AAA means first is basically authentication, authorization, and accounting. So idea is basically all your network devices. Okay, all your network devices. Let's say we have a router, we have a switch, we have a firewall, any network device. Okay, they all basically authenticate through a one centralized server, which is known as these days like we use like ICE, Cisco ICE, Identity Service Engine. Again, guys, like if you want to do this is like more related with the security topic. Okay, so I'm not showing you the ICE, but I will show you the configuration on the switch or router side. And once we're familiar with the AAA configuration, okay, then I will also show you the 8.1x and the MAV authentication. Okay, maybe guys, first time that configuration is very lengthy. There is a lot of command when you configuring the 8.1x and the MAV authentication. But mainly, guys, we focus on the concept. And as I told you, these days everybody using wired as well as wireless authentication. Okay, so first, guys, like I show you on a packet tracer. Okay, on a packet tracer, you can use this server, like one of the server, like a centralized authentication. I will show you like once you enable this command, what actually happened on the Cisco router as well as the switches. And then we also need to define the TACACS configuration. Okay, so you see like the devices. So the devices, they communicate to the ICE through the TACACS protocol. And this is might be the interview question. Okay, what is the difference between TACACS and the radius? So TACACS protocol, guys, like basically also this is the only protocol which provide you accounting. Radius, on the other hand, it basically not providing this feature. Okay, accounting. So what is accounting? Okay, so again, first aim is authentication. Okay, once you authenticate, second aim is like what authorization you have. You have a full access, you have a read-only access. The third A means accounting. Once you log in on the devices, what command you like configure or run on those devices. Okay, so you can also do the accounting. This is basically the accounting mean. Okay, what command you have run. Second, second A authorization. It's not necessary you will always give all the user to full access. So maybe some user have only the read-only access. And the first A authentication. Okay, so TACACS is only who is providing the accounting. So this is just a theory perspective. Okay, now let's apply in the real world. If they ask you what is the main difference between TACACS and radius, so TACACS you can say for the device administrator. Okay, so all your devices, they will authenticate, authorize, and accounting. In that case, you will use TACACS for your device administrator. Okay. However, for the radius, you can say like for end user authentication. End user authentication or maybe VPN authentication, okay? Or because in those cases, you only just need authentication, okay, not accounting. So that's a real answer of uh, basically if there's someone asks you the difference between TACACS and radius, okay. So here, guys, like I show you the configuration on because the same configuration, guys, you will do on the router as well as the switches. So you need to understand the concept, guys. Okay. So here, guys, like I will show you the little practical on Cisco packet tracer because on Cisco packet tracer we can use one uh, a centralized authentication server. Okay, and I will create the username and the password. Okay. Just one second, my laptop. Okay, so I will show you like on the packet tracer, and as I told you, we have a same identical configuration router as well as the switches. Okay, so this is the TACACS packet tracer we have, and on this packet tracer, let me log into the packet tracer. Okay, so we'll put the at gmail.com. Remember me, then the password. Okay. Set up a new password. Okay. Whenever like it's a long time like I am using this packet Cisco packet tracer. So the reason we are using this packet tracer because as I told you, we cannot use we can use so you can use like any device. Okay, let's say I'm using a layer 3 switch. So this is a switch, layer 3 switch, and we have a server. Okay, in the real world, guys, this server is I server. Okay, so here I will configure this layer 3 switch to connect it to the server. So in the real world, like maybe you have a multiple server, like two server, one is like primary, other is secondary. I will also show you like in that case, how you will do the configuration, okay, on the router as well as on the switches. But here guys, if you go to service and AAA, you can use like a service is on and you can create a username and the password, okay, just temporary. In the real world, guys, like how they basically not create the username password to the server. Okay, basically what actual scenario in the real world. So devices, network devices, your I server, then this server further integrate with your Active Directory. Okay, so you see like when you join any company, you get a laptop and you also get a new user ID, and that user ID basically configure on an Active Directory, and through that user ID, you will log in on your laptop. Similarly, guys, we don't create a username password on this server itself. We can, however, we can, but again, this is not a scalable solution. Okay, so we need some device where we already have all the user ID and the password. That means like this server further integrate with the Active Directory. Okay. And once like let's say if we're doing SSH or telnet to this Cisco switch, okay, the username password it will send to the ICE. ICE will send to the Active Directory. Hey, is this a valid user or not? Then based on the response, okay, if it is valid, the user will able to log in. Okay, and if the user is not valid, then in that case it will get the message like authentication failed. Okay. This is how happen in the real world. Here again, like just for the testing purpose, I will create the username password on the server itself. So, and then I try to log into this switch. Switch will send, hey, is this username password is valid? Server will reply, this is valid. Then this user basically log into the switch. Okay. So for the testing purpose, we need a laptop, and on that laptop, we will try to SSH or telnet to this switch. Okay. So this is my switch. The first thing I like, if you want to configure the authentication, okay, if you want to enable the AAA, so this is like very dangerous command, okay. So this is a command. Once you enable this, okay, you will see all your command after enabling it, okay. But uh, let's say if you enable this command and this switch, if they don't have any username password locally, then you might be in trouble, okay. Because definitely, guys, once you enable the AAA, make sure switch has a username and the password locally also, because that is our backup method. So if this server goes down, we will also create the username and the password on the switch itself, and that will be the backup. And as you enable this command and this switch don't have any username and password, then you might be in trouble. In that case, guys, like the only way you need to do the password recovery, okay. So that's why, guys, this command is very dangerous, okay. So like, let's say if I say exit, and right, okay, hi guys, like I'm on a console, but share issue to play no model. So by default, I believe this is not happening here. Let me see, like in case they have applied some on the console. No. So I believe like we also need to one more command, AAA authentication login. I'm assuming like every switch is okay. Like when you going to apply the AAA command, so this is the main command. And if this command also there, and you don't have the username and the password on the switch itself, then I just want to show you like how you basically put yourself in trouble. Okay, so how, let's say login, AAA authentication, login default, local, or okay. So yeah, I want to write the configuration, then exit. Yeah, you see like now I don't have any username password configure, and it definitely asking for my username and password. Then in that case, guys, you are in trouble. Okay, so in that case, the only option you have, you need to password recovery on this switch. Okay, so here, guys, like in my case, like I need to now remove this switch and install the new switch. Okay, so switches, layer 3 switches, and I'm going to basically, okay, even I forget how to use a packet tracer. Okay, so yes, and now I'm connecting the cable back. So this is my server, and this is my uh, machine. Okay, so here, guys, like the first thing you always, like in the switches or even in the router, you will always create the one username and the password. Okay, so the way we create the username password on the switches and the router, okay, which is username, Cisco privilege level 15, secret. So we never use the password keyword because this is unsecure password. We will use secret. Okay. One more thing, guys, like when you setting the secret password also, okay, so there is like one website who can also decrypt your secret password. So like if I show you Google Cisco type 5 password decryption. So yeah, this is the website. This also have feature to decrypt the 5%. But this website, this like algorithm, okay, only helpful when your password is small. So this help is only this website or algorithm, okay, only help to decrypt your password if your password is, let's say, 3 word or 4 word. Okay, if you have a password like around 10 word or 15 word, then this by using this website, okay, you cannot crack your type 5 password. But let's say if you have password like only 4 word or up to a 5, I think like, yeah, it might take some time, but eventually it will crack the password. Okay. So that's why guys, like even when you, because in the real world, definitely we use like a 10 or 12 word in the password, and that is very complex. Okay. So in that case, guys, like I'm just using Cisco. Okay. So earlier, guys, like we have a website only for type 7, which is this password type 7, but even these days type 5 password also be cracked if they are weak. Okay. If they are stronger password, then no. So I have configured the username password. Now the first command, I need to enable AAA new model. So this is the command. So this is the command to enable that AAA. The second command, we need to define what is my TACACS server IP, which is your ICE IP. So in this case, let me configure the IP address, okay, to this server, like service, physical desktop IP configuration. The IP address of this server is 192.168.1.100. Then I also need to define on the server side key. If this device sending you the request, please accept it. Okay, so you basically need to whitelist your all your devices in this server. Okay, and you also need to define the TACACS key. Same key we configure on the switch. Hey, while you communicating with this server, okay, which is in our case 192.168.1.100, and the key is, let's say, Cisco @123. Same key here we define. So this is the first thing. Okay, even in the real world on the ICE, you can add individual IP, you can add the whole subnet, you can also configure the default route, any device, if they come with this uh, key, okay, accept those devices request. Generally, in the real world, they are very specific and they use a single IP, okay, on the server side. So here, guys, like we also need to define, hey, switch IP address is obviously, guys, we need a communication, so we need to configure the IP address 1.1.1.255. This is my IP address. No shutdown. So you can check the connectivity, make sure the server, the authentication server should be reachable. So if we see this is a server IP, and as the switch and the server, they are in the same VLAN, so they have a connectivity. Okay. Now let's do the configuration on the server side. Okay. So in the real world, guys, the dashboard will be different. But here, guys, like mainly you go to AAA, it's only showing okay, TACACS also. So we need to define the name. Let's say this is my location in Toronto switch, and switch IP address is 192.168.1.1, and the secret key, which is Cisco @123 add. And for the testing purpose, we also need a username password, which is, let's say, admin. So I have done with the server side. Okay. In the real world, no, everything is different, but the concept is same. You need to add the device IP plus the TACACS key. Because when we're doing the configuration, let's say then another command we need to define IP TACACS. We need to define what is the server IP and what is the key. So there is two ways to do this configuration. Okay. So if you have multiple server, generally you will create a group. You will create a group, and in the group, you can define, this is a group name. You can define, this is a server 1, this is a server 2. Okay, this is basically, guys, in the same name will remain same. You can define two group. Okay. Remember, the first one always is primary server in the group. Okay, so you have a, like, in the group, when you mention server IP 1, 2, 3, 4, the first request always goes to the server which is in your top. Second request will go to this server. Okay. So You also need to define the key. I believe like there is a you can also define the configuration key here also, like server IP and the key, but you can also define the key here. Okay, so here guy, like let me see, like might be this switch is basically supporting the old command, because I believe like earlier AAA has different command and now it has different command, but use question mark. Okay, again, as I told you guys, command is not a big deal. Okay, the big deal is like basically you make sure you understand the concept. Okay, so here guys, like we can define IP TACACS. Okay, maybe command start from TACACS server, and then we can define the host, which is the server IP. In our case is 192.168.1.100. Then you can define the key, which is Cisco @ 123. So AAA, if I say supporting the group or not. So here again, like this is limited. Okay, packet tracer, it is not showing the group. So in the real world, you can create a group when you have multiple server. Okay, so right now, so far, guys, like what we did. Okay, so we enable this command AAA new model, and we define who is my TACACS server and server IP and the pre-shared key. And definitely, as in the real world, service password encryption, this command is enabled. So you cannot see your password in clear text. Sorry, not this one. Oh, it is still showing clear text. But yeah, in the real switches, okay, once you run this command, it will show you the encryption. But again, it's a type 7 encryption. Anyone can easily encrypt your type 7 password. Okay. So type 7 is very simple. Okay. So if we mention Cisco type, so there is a lot of website for type 7. You just put the encrypt key password here and you can submit and you will decrypt the password. Okay. Anyway, so that's not important, because as long as this password we are not using for a login purpose. Okay. So the first thing, like you need to define your authentication. Okay. AAA authentication. Here guys, like you will define the authentication login. So you will define a default. Okay, now this is you need to understand. Okay, if I use a default, this default means when we log into this switch, either virtual line, which is VTY, in this like we have a SSH and telnet, or console, it basically use the same method. Okay, so I show you the command. If you're using the default basically applying for the both line, okay, virtual line as well as the console line. However, I seen the best way to do the configuration, okay, maybe on the virtual line, you will use that ICE authentication, okay. And second method is local. However, on the console, you will always use the local authentication. Okay, local authentication means like the username password which is configured on the switches. Because I guys seen the so many scenario. Sometimes, let's say if this switch has intermediate connectivity to your server, and you trying to log into the server switch, okay, and as you have an intermediate connectivity, your password is not accepting. Even your ICE password is not accepting, your local password is not accepting. So in that case, like might be if you taking the console of the switch, on the console, there is always the authentication method as a local. So you can troubleshoot those scenario. Even last Friday, when we faced this issue, so I was trying to log in on the console on a switch, okay, and as the connectivity was intermediate, I was not able to log into the switch. Okay, so the best practice, guys, like On the virtual line, maybe you will apply the authentication through via your centralized server. And then on the console, always local. Okay. So let me explain like with the configuration. Okay. So let's say if I using default, first I will show you default. Then guys, here is the option. Here, if you have a group, you can create a group. Okay. So you can group and you can define the group name. Okay. TACACS and group name. But here guys, like we cannot create a group name. Okay. So we simply define TACACS. And the second authentication method is local. TACACS question mark and the second authentication local. So this is the configuration. So this command only for authentication. Okay, authentic, not for authorization, not for accounting, just for authentication. So this command is saying, as long as my server is reachable, I will use the primary authentication method, the TACACS protocol. If server goes down, then I will use the local method. Okay, so I will check the switch database, which is this username and the password. So let's enable the telnet and SSH. Okay, let's say telnet. Okay, so let's say I'm going to enable the telnet. So on this switch, host name, my core switch. So line, how we enable the telnet, line VTY 024 login. So we cannot say login local because this is as triple is enabled. So we okay, line between 0 to 4 password Cisco. Even if you define the password here, this won't work. Okay, because everything is basically taken care by your AAA. Okay, so on this system, if I go to my system and give IP address, so this is my system IP, and my switch IP is, let's do telnet. Okay, telnet to switch, which is 192.168.1.1, and see like it is opening. Here guys, like which username password you will use. So you will use the username password which is configured on the server side. So if you use the other username password, like let's say Cisco, which is configured on the switch itself, it won't work. So Cisco, it won't work because right now server is reachable and he's sending the request to the server and he's asking, hey, is Cisco is valid user? And on the server database, we don't have any username with Cisco. Okay. You can see like there is only one username password, which is admin. So if I try to log in admin, I mean, I can log into the switch. If this server goes down, let's say I'm going to shut down the port. Okay. So interface FA0Y1 shut down. So server is shut down now. Let's assume server is completely down. In that case, if I go to the system again, and let's say if I telnet 192.168.1.1 admin, it won't work. Okay, because this username password created on the server side, and as server is unreachable, your device cannot log in through via this account. Now I need to log in through the switch database. Okay, so I need to use a second username password Cisco, which is it will take time. The reason why, first it will always send the request to the server, even the server is unreachable. Then you see like server is not responding to me. Then I use the second backup method, which is a local. So I need to use the local username and the password. Okay. And those like who are working, they already deal with this. Okay, so many times, like sometime your centralized ice server or earlier guys ACS server is down. How do you log into the devices? Any question guys like so far? Any question? मैंने आपको म्यूट कर दिया, अनम्यूट कर दिया, आप पूछ सकते हो। नो क्वेश्चन।
हेलो सर, जो हम ओलामेड यूज करते हैं, मान लो यूजर नेम पासवर्ड यूज करते हैं, कुछ के मतलब रीडेबल राइट्स होते हैं, वो कौन सा लेवल होता है, लेवल 2
नहीं
या
नहीं,
जिस पे कुछ के
वो स्विच पे आप कुछ डिफाइन नहीं करते लोकली, वो आप आइस आई सर्वर के ऊपर डिफाइन करते हो।
नहीं,
सो
मैं बस समझ गया। वो कौन
हाँ,
से लेवल कुछ
नहीं 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 नहीं।
वेरीफाइड है, मतलब जो राइट के लिए किस लेवल पे, लेवल 3
तो
है,
ये
कैसे कुछ।
आइस पे आप लेवल के साथ नहीं खेलते, आइस पे इवन लाइक लेट मी create a rule, authentication rule. So like on the ice, let's say if I as ice is basically integrated with the active directory. Active directory basically is basically having a group. Okay, let's say I have a five user. I create a one group in active directory, and that is, let's say, for one this group is read write, second group is read only. So let's say three user, okay, A B C, I that is a part of this group, okay, read write. E, and D, this is a part of this group, okay, read only. So this group you created on the active directory side. On the ICE, you will create a rule, okay, you will create a rule. So all my devices, if the group is this, which is basically RW, okay, you will also create a profile, shell profile, and that shell profile basically is having the feature, okay, you can see any command, okay, privilege level 15, any command, if all the user basically if all the condition match, they will get this shell profile. Second, all my devices and the group number is RO, we have a different shell profile, which is, let's say, only show command and something like this. So this is how basically shell profile created on the I side. So if all this condition match, so if let's say E user, okay, E user log into my device, it send the request to ICE. ICE basically check all the authentication rule. E basically match to this rule, okay. This rule because E is basically part of this group, okay, RO, and accordingly it will get this shell profile access, which is only show command. There's a lot of things, guys, like you need to learn on the I side also. But as I told you, this is mainly purely the security topic. I know ICE very well, but I cannot show you here, okay? Yeah, Karan, what question you have?
सर एक्चुअली मेरा क्या होता है कि मुझे ना मैप मैप पे वाइट लिस्ट करना रहता है
Oh,
मैक एड्रेस।
वो उस पे आएंगे अब दोस्त. We haven't
ओके
covered that topic yet. This is
ओके
for device administrator. Device administrator
ओके
समझ रहे हो? For devices login, okay.
ओके
That is my next topic, map. I will cover that, E.1x and map, which we will talk later, okay. This is just for like device administrator.
ओके ओके ये क्लियर।
And okay, now I cover the default method, okay. As I told you, the best method is because you see like how we fall back to the local method only if the server is completely down. In case if you have an intermediate connectivity, then might be you in trouble. That's why I should prefer, let me on this server, okay. So let me on this server. Interface FA0I1, no shutdown. Okay. So show run authentication AAA. So let's say no to this command. So what I'm doing now, I will create two methods. One method I will apply to VTY, other method I will apply to the console line. So AAA authentication login, and you can give a name. Okay, let's say this is for VTY line. On VTY, the first I always use TACACS. Then second method is local.
चलेगा
AAA authentication login.
तो लगे
So AAA authentication login. Next authentication method is console line. Any name, okay? And here you can also always see local. So by using this two line, okay, one method is basically I'm going to apply this method line VTY 024 login authentication. I will apply the method VTY here. And on the line console 0 login authentication, I'll apply this method on the console line. I mean, the command itself telling the purpose, okay, I don't think I need to explain this. Any question? No, Vishal. Any question? Any question with this configuration? Let me explain the configuration again.
line VTY
एक minute.
is
Let me explain the configuration, okay? So I created this line name, and in this authentication method, TACACS is first primary, local is backup. On second method, only we are using local. Then under the line VTY 0 to 4, which means different iOS has different number. Okay, this means like we at the same time 0 to 5 user can log into this device, and on this line VTY we call this authentication method. On the console we use this authentication method. Any question?
Sir, line VTY 0 by 4 means to 5 user can access at a time. If 6 user try to access,
No.
not get this.
No, it depends. Like maybe like it's not like that. Let's say in my case, the is number showing 0 to 4 and 5. Maybe like from 5 to another user, you have some different authentication method. But I believe this switch is port like 0 to 5. That means 6 user can log into this device at the same
And
time.
this can vary to 0 to 14 at a time.
Depend on the iOS. Some I seen like a very high number. A number basically that means like that many of user okay can log in this device at the same time. First, you understand this, like what I did, okay? On the virtual line, authentication method is different. On the console is different. And you know why I did that? Karan, can you explain me why I did that?
सर वो नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स
नहीं, मेरे को ये बताओ, मैंने ये अलग अलग ऑथेंटिकेशन मेथड कंसोल पे अलग क्यों लगाया, VTY पे क्यों अलग लगाया, ये क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ मैं। महेश, मैंने क्या सिनेरियो बताया था अभी जिसकी वजह से मैं ये अलग अलग लगा रहा हूँ? एनीवन?
For remote and console, there is a different authentication.
नहीं, क्यों लगाया ये, किस लिए लगाया, अलग अलग क्यों लगाया?
For security reason, I think.
कंसोल पे लोकल लॉगिन लगाया, राइट?
हाँ, क्यों लगाया ये मैंने?
जब ये आई थिंक टैकैक्स यूज नहीं वर्क करेगा तो तब कंसोल पे लोकली वर्क करना चाहिए, राइट?
वो तो
इसलिए
अगर अगर वर्चुअल लाइन में भी अगर टैक्स डाउन हो गया तो उसका बैकअप मेथड क्या है, लोकल है तो वो भी हो जाएगा।
राइट।
तो ये मैंने अलग अलग क्यों लगाया? एनीवन, रजत, सत्या, बताओ मेरे को ये अलग अलग क्यों लगाया? मैंने बताया आपको एक एग्जांपल।
सर वही कि ताकि कंप्लीटली लॉकड आउट ना हो जाए।
भाई अभी मैंने आपको बताया ना, जैसे मेरे को इशू क्या आ रहा था, अगर आपका जो ये डिवाइस है, इस डिवाइस की अगर कनेक्टिविटी है इंटरमीडिएट, पैकेट ड्रॉप हो रहे हैं, तो ना तो ये डिवाइस लोग टैकेस से लॉगिन हो पाएगा प्रॉपरली, ना ही लोकल से हो पाएगा। लेकिन इस केस में अगर कोई भी बंदा कंसोल के थ्रू इस डिवाइस को एक्सेस करेगा तो उसको ये दिक्कत नहीं आएगी। he can always, as on the console, it won't check, it will basically not go to the TACACS server, it will always check the local authentication। तो जो इंटरमीडिएट कनेक्टिविटी के इशू आएंगे, जहाँ पे आपके डिवाइसेस को क्या है, लॉगिन करने में दिक्कत आ रही है, बट थ्रू कंसोल उस टाइम पे आपको कोई दिक्कत नहीं आएगी।
मतलब जो लोकल ये पासवर्ड है जो लोकली कंसोल केबल के थ्रू लॉग इन करने का है।
हम्म। नहीं।
सर लेट्स से अगर
हम्म
जैसे लेट्स से आई फॉरगॉट माय टैक्स क्रेडेंशियल्स, ओके,
हम्म हम्म।
सो ऑन
टैकेस
दैट
टैकेस क्रेडेंशियल बेसिकली कहाँ पे कॉन्फ़िगर होते हैं? टैकेस क्रेडेंशियल यहाँ पे कॉन्फ़िगर नहीं होते, यहाँ वो आपके एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी पे होते हैं। वो कभी भी आप अगर भूलते हैं तो पासवर्ड रीसेट कर सकते हो। आप अपने लैपटॉप का पासवर्ड भूले हो कभी कम रियल वर्ल्ड में? अगर
बट
भूलते
सर
हो।
मतलब एक सिनेरियो मतलब मैं
हाँ
इन
वो,
जनरल मतलब एक क्वेरी।
हाँ ये सिनेरियो होते हैं। तो इन द रियल वर्ल्ड ये जो यूजर नेम पासवर्ड होते हैं टैकेस की, वी वोंट क्रिएट ऑन द सर्वर, ओके, इट इज बेसिकली योर आई सर्वर फर्दर इंटीग्रेट विद द एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी, वहाँ वही सेम यूजर नेम पासवर्ड यूज करते हैं।
उसमें हेलो सर, यदि रियल टाइम में हम पासवर्ड भूलते हैं तो बूट 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 में जाना पड़ता है ना डिवाइस की, कंट्रोल भी।
पासवर्ड रिकवरी करने के लिए दोस्त वो कहते होते हैं, हाँ वो स्विच का क्या होता है, जैसे राउटर का रोन
स्विच
मोड
में
होता है,
कंट्रोल भी।
स्विच का भी रोन मोड होता है जिसको, हाँ जो जब ये ऐसे आता है स्विच डबल
कंट्रोल
कॉलर।
बूट मोड में जाके।
वो तो पासवर्ड रिकवरी होगी, ये मैं कुछ और पे फोकस कर रहा हूँ दोस्त। यार आई बिलीव लाइक दो, आप सब पे वर्किंग हो, आपने कभी ट्रिपल ए पे कॉन्फ़िगरेशन नहीं करी आपने स्विचेस राउटर के ऊपर? करिए कभी जसवीर?
नो सर, नो सर।
हमें भी शायद ये आपके सीनियर करते होंगे, बिकॉज दैट इज अ डेंजरस कॉन्फ़िगरेशन। बाकी दो जो अदर
सर
जो वर्किंग है, जो महेश, रजत, सत्य, विशाल, कभी टैक्स पे काम नहीं किया ये ट्रिपल ए की कॉन्फ़िगरेशन के ऊपर?
नहीं सर, नहीं।
ये है बहुत कम लेकिन।
ओके, सो कोई क्वेश्चन है? पहले तो ये बताओ अभी तक जो कराया मैंने। मैं एडवांस में भी जा सकता हूँ, पर मेरे को लग रहा है पहले बेसिक जो, क्योंकि ये बेसिक है, एडवांस में मैं आपको बताऊंगा एक रिक्वायरमेंट कैसी आई थी मेरे पास इसमें। तो
मतलब सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है एक,
बोलो।
right, that is okay that it is synced with 80, but in our eyes we have created separate device admins as well,
हम्म
right?
हम्म।
तो सो मैं उस पर्सपेक्टिव में पूछ रहा हूँ, लेट्स से मैं मेरे
तो
फॉरगॉट मैं
हाँ,
भूल गया मैं। हाँ।
तो उस केस में अगर तेरे पास लोकल बना हुआ है तो आइस पे लॉग इन कर और पासवर्ड जब मर्जी रीसेट कर दे उसका।
तो वो सिनेरियो ठीक है, पर जैसे लेट्स से अगर मैं डिवाइस में लॉगिन करना चाह रहा हूँ, राइट,
हम्म
और लेट्स से मेरे पास एक्सेस भी नहीं है, मेरा सीनियर नहीं है अवेलेबल, पर उस केस में जैसे अगर आइस अप है तो मुझे लोकल से लॉगिन करने नहीं देगा स्विच पे, राइट?
हम्म।
तो उस सिनेरियो पे हम क्या कर सकते हैं वर्चुअल लाइन पे कि मेरा लोकल भी
तो
आइस अप है फिर भी मैं लोकल
तो
से लॉगिन कर
देखो
सकूं?
देखो, मल्टीपल भी दिमाग लगा, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल क्या कर सकते हैं तू आइस को डाउन करने के लिए? मतलब ऐसा नहीं है उसको बंद कर दे। मैं ये सिनेरियो काफी बार आया, तो थोड़ा सा ना अलग आउट ऑफ बॉक्स भी सोचा करो। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मैं सिंपल, क्योंकि ये मेरे पास जो तू सिनेरियो बता रहा हूँ, आई हैव फेस दिस इशू सो मेनी टाइम। तो अगर बीच में जैसे, क्योंकि रियल वर्ल्ड में सेंट्रलाइज सर्वर कहाँ पड़ा मेरे को नहीं पता, जब ये रिक्वेस्ट जब भेज रहा है, जैसे बीच में एक और स्विच आ रहा है, मैं यहाँ पे ACL लगा दूंगा। ACL लगा दूंगा, जब ये स्विच सर्वर को कम्युनिकेशन भेजेगा तो क्या कर दे, डिनाई कर दे ACL में, रेस्ट ऑफ ट्रैफिक कर दे, परमिट IPA नहीं कर दे। तो इस केस में क्या है, जब स्विच रिक्वेस्ट भेजेगा, स्विच ये सर्व बीच में जो स्विच आ रहा है मिडल में, इट विल बेसिकली ड्रॉप द ट्रैफिक, देन सर्वर थिंक ओ माय आई सर्वर इज डाउन, then then when you try to log into this switch, okay, then in that case you can log in, you on a switch, okay, through your local account. So in middle, create any policy, deny the connectivity for your TACACS server on port 49, because TACACS basically, guys, is use TCP application, which is work on port number 49. Block this traffic, okay. Let's say you are getting issue to log in on this switch. In middle, any device, create a ACL, block this traffic. Switch will think, oh, my server is goes down, then I should like allow the user to log in, okay, who are using local account. Clear, Ajit?
ओके सर, ठीक है।
लेकिन सर हमारे यहाँ पे लोकल जो स्विच पे कॉन्फ़िगर मतलब यूजर नेम क्रिएट है ना, वो आइस की कनेक्टिविटी रहती है, तभी भी मैं लॉगिन कर पाता हूँ उससे लोकल से।
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, so yeah, this is because if you do the configuration like this, okay, let me show. That's very interesting question, because मैं इस पे आने वाला ही था, but config. So let me remove this. Copy, paste. No. So very few company I have seen this, okay, because most of the company they don't know this is how this is the way we can also achieve on Cisco. So if we, let's say, do the configuration like this, okay, let's say AAA authentication login default, let's say default, my first method will be local.
Yeah, correct.
And the second method will be TACACS. If you do the configuration like this, guys, like think how this work, okay. So if I try to with the local, here like our local username password is Cisco. You can log into the device through the local, okay. And if you use a username password is admin, first it will see that, hey, do we have any username with this admin or admin? Cisco switch may say no. Then it will send this username password to TACACS, and as TACACS has this username password, it will allow you to the login. So by configuring this, okay, this way you can use your local account as well as your TACACS account can work, okay, at the same time. I show you like now, if I go to the switch, I believe I need to remove the configuration this, because now, guys, we are configure the default, which should automatically apply, but let me remove this command, or either I need to say paste. So you can say login authentication default. I mean, this is optional, but so as let me show you now, this way you can do the telnet. So let's say I use first the local account, which is Cisco, I mean, and now let's use the TACACS command, TACACS username password, admin. Oh, it's not taking, but yeah, because I tested this, okay, this is also working. I don't know why it says, I'm not sure with the packet tracer, but I have tested this scenario in the real world and it is working. And you can check like who raised this
Hello?
concern? Vishal, right?
या विशाल
राइट. तो आपके वहां पे सेम ही कॉन्फ़िगरेशन हो रखी होगी, तो आपने पहले
Correct.
लोकल कर रखा है, फिर बाद में
Yes,
टैकस कर रखा है. हाँ जी, जसवीर बोलो.
मैं बोल रहा था आपको कि किसी ने मान लो लोकल के थ्रू लॉगिन किया और उसमें मान लो कोई वो नहीं मान लो लगा नहीं रखी सिक्योरिटी रीजन की वजह से, तो ट्रेस नहीं होगा ना कि किसने चेंजेस किए हैं लोकल से लॉगिन
There is a command locally, but हाँ, अगर let's say because right. Locally, we don't create like individual user ID for each user. Okay, we have like maybe one username password or maybe one more. Okay, so yeah, that's a security issue, right? Maybe like this password you will not share to everyone, only to your senior manager or higher manager, something like that. Got it, Jasveer? So other user, they will use the username password, which is basically configured on the ICE or your Active Directory. So this password I'm not going to share with everyone, okay, in my team. Only me or my higher manager. Then this configuration is okay. I think this is the best. So when you have an issue like especially intermediate connectivity issue, this is the best configuration. And other any question? Okay, if you don't have any question, guys, we will continue the class on Saturday or maybe Friday. I will see, okay, because like they also involve me like for another project, and I received a lot of new switches. I need to do the upgrade those switches and the configuration. So might be I'm going office tomorrow as well as Friday, okay. Friday I'm not sure, but tomorrow definitely I'm going to the office, okay. Okay, then I see you on Saturday or or might be Friday and covering this, okay. E.1x and MAV authentication.
सर 1 सेकेंड सर, आज वाली जो क्लास कौन सा है? क्लास 12 है?
Yes.
ओके.
Yeah, all my previous classes already uploaded. ठीक है, और जिसकी फीस नहीं आ रखी भाई फीस दे दो वो, ठीक है. Okay guys, see you next time.
so thank you, bye.